And for Joe Biden, this video call is like a game of poker. His opponent is formidable. He's a spy from the Cold War, a world leader for 20 years. So calling Vladimir Putin's bluff is not going to be easy. That is, if Putin is bluffing. Joe Biden also desperately needs a diplomatic win. Less than a year in office, look at his report card. He made a mess of the Afghanistan exit. He's not making much headway with China. His Iran nuclear talks are still work in progress. So Ukraine becomes very important for Joe Biden. A de-escalation in Ukraine could give him a face saver. The question is, does Biden have the diplomatic chops? Here's what we know about his strategy. It's a tried and tested one. It's called carrots and sticks. Basically a mix of threats and outreach. What kind of threats? Sanctions, to start with. Biden could hit Russian banks. He could stop Moscow from converting their currency into dollars. It would be a big setback for trade. Biden could also target the oligarchs. We're talking about Russia's super rich. They're close allies of Vladimir Putin. You hit the oligarchs, you hit Putin. Another option for Biden is to close off the bond market. He can stop US agencies from buying and selling Russian government bonds. And finally, we have the nuclear option, figuratively speaking. Experts call it the sledgehammer. Joe Biden can expel Russia from the SWIFT banking system. What exactly is SWIFT? Let me explain. Imagine you're sending money from India to America or from America to Russia. So your bank needs a SWIFT code. It's like the key to any international transaction. No SWIFT, no international banking. That's how it works. The US can cut off Russia from this system. It would make Moscow a financial outcast. And this is Joe Biden's trump card. But will he use it? That depends on how President Putin responds today, how this conversation goes. Now, this may be a game of poker, but remember what's at stake here. The lives of 44 million people who live in Ukraine. That's what is at stake. Joe Biden cannot afford to push Putin too far. He has nuclear weapons. He has well-trained troops. And he has the weather on his side. There's an old saying in military circles, Russia's greatest ally is General Frost, or the Russian winter. History bears witness. Both Napoleon and Hitler, remember, lost to General Frost. So Joe Biden cannot afford to underestimate Putin. Where does that leave him? If the threats don't work, what can Joe Biden offer? Perhaps talks. That's part 2 of his plan, the carrot. Lay out a diplomatic roadmap to de-escalate. This means implementing the Minsk agreement signed in 2015. But here's the problem. If Biden is offering talks, Putin will sense weakness. He will demand more concessions. Things that Joe Biden simply cannot agree to. It's definitely a tightrope for any diplomat, but Biden is not entirely faultless here. His Russia policy has been all over the place. Think back to March this year. Joe Biden called Vladimir Putin a killer. And that's not the best way to calm tensions. Less than 2 months later, he invites Putin for a summit in Geneva. He offers to cooperate on arms control. He okays a Russian gas pipeline in Germany. Talk about mixed messages. Joe Biden has aced it. He says he wants a stable and predictable relationship with Russia. Good luck with that. Vladimir Putin is an unpredictable leader. Traditional diplomacy does not work with him, and Joe Biden does not have the appetite for conflict. His forces are already busy and stretched. They're focused on the South China Sea and Taiwan. Joe Biden cannot afford to open up another front, a new front, especially not after Afghanistan. So this is Biden's impossible checklist. 1, get the Russians to leave. Make sure the threat of war is removed. 2, retain influence in Ukraine. Make sure that Kiev remains in NATO's corner. And 3, a long-term peace plan. We saw a similar build-up in March and April this year. The same rhetoric, the same fears. Ukraine cannot keep living under this fear of invasion. There must be a long-term solution to this conflict. Joe Biden has a lot more to lose than Vladimir Putin. His European allies will be watching. Taiwan will be watching. Will the Americans dump another ally, or will Biden stand up for Ukraine? It is not going to be an easy negotiation. Putin is a seasoned diplomat. He knows when to push and when to pull back. He knows exactly what he wants from this crisis, and that's what we'll discuss next. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.